Bitcoin and Cardano putting in a nice bounce, but the question we should be asking ourselves as we go into today, is it a fake out? What is resistance? What is up, everyone? Welcome to Crypto Capital Venture. Hit the subscribe, hit that like on the way in. Let's jump into this. So, the bounce is nice. We're not going to debate that at all. This is exactly the type of bounce that we want to see in a bullish reversal, but we're at the beginning stages of it. We have to track it now, right? We've been here before, even in continued downtrends, and we're going to wait. We're going to wait for confirmation. So let's dig in. Let's talk about this. I want to start on the weekly chart for Bitcoin. So first things first, if you look at the weekly chart and we start zooming in, and this is what I talked about in the video from I think yesterday actually, we are looking to close somewhere in this Fibonacci. This is a 786 down to 36,400 to the 618 to 42,000. Now, not only that, if Bitcoin can close this weekly candle, which now is 3 days left, 3 days, 10 hours left, if we can close that weekly candle above this Fibonacci, that will be extremely bullish. But at the very least, we want to see Bitcoin close within the support area, right? If it's going to consolidate and just kind of be volatile for maybe a week or two, we want to, at the very least, see it happen within this area. We do not want to see Bitcoin begin closing below that Fibonacci. And the reason that is, it's a macro Fibonacci higher low area. So if we take out our Fibonacci, it's this swing low back here to swing high all-time high. And that's what we're looking at right there, that Fibonacci support area. Now, we comparatively went back to the last bull market and we saw, Bitcoin saw support at these areas on the way up, right? We saw support at that weekly higher low area. So the other thing I want to talk about is related to a fake out type of deal, right? And even though I'm using data of the top of the last bull market, that's not me saying we're entering a bear market now, right? But you see how we came down, and this is on the weekly. We're going to look at the daily. We came down, we got this bounce, and we continued down. That's what we want to be very careful of right now. So let's go to a daily chart. Here's the Fibonacci that we just talked about on the weekly. Bitcoin, it's doing what we want to see it do right now. If we start zooming out, we can go all the way back to that 2017 high, and you see this right here, this fake out. This is what we want to be careful of right now. And this is the last bull market high, but this happens all the time on Bitcoin charts. And so it is a swing high to swing low, and you can see Bitcoin failing at a Fibonacci lower high area. So going back to Bitcoin now, we can start seeing what this might look like. So here's Bitcoin making a little bit of a move to the upside, and we have to get there first. Like, we have to get to resistance first. We can take our all-time high to swing low, and the biggest resistance for Bitcoin right now, if it makes it there, 57,400 at the 786 to 51,600 at the 618 line. So right when we start entering that $51,000 area, that's where we really start looking for resistance. Right now, Bitcoin's not even there. We need to, at the very least, get there, right? So for where Bitcoin is right now, we are looking at around a 20% move to the 618 and a 35% move to the 786. Now, that shows you the mess that Bitcoin needs to dig itself out of right now. And we can change this to a 6 hour, and there might be some patience that needs to be had as we try and put in an actual swing low, as we try and put in some support for Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin can, on the very short term charts, can be volatile. Here's our macro support. We want to see Bitcoin hold, right? That we started talking about right on the weekly. We want to see Bitcoin hold this green area at the very least. We want to see it start closing candles, and it all starts on the zoomed in. Here's the 6 hour chart. We want to start seeing Bitcoin close above this Fibonacci support area. And right now Bitcoin is right within it, and we're going to track it. We're going to see. But the story to that Fibonacci resistance all the way up here, it could be a story of higher highs and higher lows, maybe coming back down, testing this area again. So it could be volatile in the coming hours and days for Bitcoin, but that's what I'm watching. I want to see Bitcoin close above this area and make its way towards uh, the lower high resistance, which is the all-time high up here to where we are up here to this resistance. So that's what I'm watching on Bitcoin. Let's pivot over to Cardano. Look at the weekly on Cardano. Are you kidding me right now? So this weekly candle is just a very, very promising looking weekly candle. Again, 3 days, 10 hours left on the weekly candle. Have to be extremely careful right now. The biggest thing I talked about in the last video about Cardano, the $1.50 area, seeing the weekly candle close above that area at the very least. You know, worst case scenario, worst case in a bullish scenario, Cardano's closing at the very least at $1.50 on the weekly. Right now, the weekly candle, $1.87, and just the wick on this weekly candle is crazy. I mean, what do we wick to? We wick to like $1, right? So if you zoom out, I want to just show you something. I was texting a buddy, and we were just talking about how the last time we saw a move kind of like this was back in last March. We're talking about when COVID hit and things were getting crazy. And we saw this really nice wick on the weekly, and then we saw a bullish reversal, and it was just like off to the races. And that's exactly, long story short, the exact type of thing we want to see right now. We have this crazy wick. We have obviously a lot of people buying and accumulating, and same back here. You know, this is when people began getting back in and accumulating Cardano. But we want to see this move. So not only do we want to see the weekly close above $1.50, it's looking very solid right now. We have some nice separation from the $1.50 area. We're looking at right around, 25% overextension from that $1.50. We start zooming in. Now we're on the daily chart. And the thing we need to track on the daily chart is this. Number one, how does this daily candle close? And number two, how much separation do we get from that $1.50? I want to just mention this. In yesterday's video, I talked about this support area. So it was a swing low to swing high. And I did talk about on the short term, it would have been extremely bullish for Cardano when all of this mess was happening. And look at that, below $1 here on this daily chart. When all this mess was happening, to close at the very least within this Fibonacci support. And that's the swing low to swing high. Or I'm sorry, that's the swing low to swing high down to support. It didn't close within that area. But, putting that technical rule aside, right now, Cardano looking very bullish with what it's doing and how it's interacting with that support area. I mean, on this daily candle, we're out of it. We very, very quickly kind of bounced back into it. And that area right now is $1.71 to right around that $1.50 mark. So that $1.50 area going back to the weekly, it's the biggest thing to watch for on Cardano this week. There's 3 days, 10 hours left of this weekly candle. And I think both on Cardano and Bitcoin, as we're watching these very important weekly charts, and here's the 6 hour, but there's that weekly Fibonacci support for Bitcoin. These are really important areas for these two cryptos. So that's what I'm watching on Cardano. If we go to the 6 hour chart, the resistance, we start talking about the same type of deal with Bitcoin. We see it on Cardano, but we are there, right? We don't have 25 to 30% to the upside before we're even testing this Fibonacci, right? This Fibonacci is all-time high to the quick swing low back to resistance. And we're there at resistance. If you go to Bitcoin, the Fibonacci that we have as resistance, and let me get rid of this. We just talked about this. The Fibonacci, all-time high to swing low. And look, Bitcoin's like 30% away from that area. Crazy to see Cardano's already there, testing the area. And this is the scenario where you want to be careful. We want to look for fake out. We get these bounces. We just looked at it in the beginning of the bear market, 2017 into 2018. We get these nice bounces on crypto, and then we continue down. So on the short term, and I use that as an illustration just to give you some context into what it could look like. So we don't want to see this be a lower high for Cardano, and then we're coming back down. If we come back down, it's okay, but we have to start talking about $1.50 as support. We have to start talking about the Fibonacci's down here that we have as support, things like that on the short term. But right now, in the very, very short term, today, we can look for Cardano since we've already tested this Fibonacci. $1.90 at the 618 to $2.15. Can Cardano at the very least interact with this area? And what will it show us as it does interact with that area? That's what I'm watching for today. Be careful because if we see resistance here coming back down, could continue into volatility. You know, we could be in the $60s, $50s very quickly. But this is why we track these things and we wait for confirmations. So I appreciate you all coming by. You might have seen I launched CCV1, our new stake pool, CCV1. It is actually our third pool, and I'm sorry, it's CCV2 if this would load. This is CCV1 at 26 million ADA. We have CCV2, our third pool, and we are approaching 2 million ADA already, and we just launched this. So appreciate you staking with us. Sarah and I, my wife, we have some really cool things we're going to be announcing in terms of the mission of Crypto Capital Venture and what these pools are going to be doing. Long story short, the mission is to love and serve. And as we grow this community, as we grow together, that's what we're going to be working on. So hit the subscribe, everybody. Hit that like. Let's get this day started. Let's see what Bitcoin and Cardano do. Can they break up? Can they break resistance? And can we avoid one of those fake outs? See you in the next video, everybody. God bless.